Hey everybody, it's Tom, and coming to you for the concluding reflection upon this essay through which we've been going, Brave New Biocracy, Healthcare from Womb to Tomb by Ivan Illich. To recap what we've considered thus far, we began considering the manner in which the sacredness of life becomes compromised with the emergence of our contemporary, of our modern, or our secular dispensation. And in many ways, this could be said to occur because of the underwriting category of ethical ground shifts from a focus on the person to the focus on mere life per se, or life as a substantive ideal. This is the coinage of Illich in his essay. And what occurs with that shift is the capacity to quantify and engineer the terms of life, sort of fold it within a cybernetic vision, a vision which can be enclosed and again controlled. And this follows from ideals that are written into the structure of science at the dawn of modernity, but can also be connected, paradoxically enough, to aspects of the Christian tradition. In any event, with this transition, you see an abrogation of the boundaries of life as being of existentially immutable significance. The lines of birth and death are being blurred, and some suggest they should even be obliterated. Along with this decimation of the import of birth and death, you actually have a negation of the historical, both in the sense of what is happening with human beings at large, but also with respect to how the human being, the human individual, understands himself, understands herself, as participating in a narrative journey from birth to death, through which meaning is realized and sanctified. By obliterating those boundaries, by annihilating the historical, by evacuating the import of the person, we arrive at a kind of nihilist paradise, which takes the form of largely cybernetic thinking which is nested within our conception of health, within certain manners in which we conceive of ecology, and so on. And all in all, it is a rather frightful state of affairs. That's roughly the ground which we've endeavored to cover in the previous two videos. So now we come to the essay's concluding section, which is entitled Hygienic Autonomy, a Manifesto. I feel I'll tickle my throat, and I'm going to try and avoid having a coughing fit like I did on the previous video. So here we go. Here, I'm just going to take a quick sip. Excuse me. So anyway, what is the antidote to the present circumstance that is outlined in excuse me. What is the outcome that is outlined in the concluding section of the essay? It's already adumbrated, foreshadowed in part, in a subsection of the lead-in to the concluding portion, where, as a coda to criticism of the ideal of responsibility as it is framed within our culture, within our culture, what Illich suggests is this concept has become distorted, really almost grotesquely, to become a kind of certification of participating in the frame, in the system, in the hive, and is almost antithetical to the genuine exercise of one's autonomy. And similarly with health. Participating in the contemporary definitions of health leads one to subjection within the collective, if you like, to appeal to the mythical frame of the Borg, if I can be so bold as to use that modern mythological touchstone. The Borg, cyborg, cybernetic, etc., etc., etc. The answer is then actually a kind of weird aestheticism and ascesis, a renunciation of these conceptions of responsibility and health. That is not actually to abnegate bona fide responsibility or bona fide health, but to realize that to recapture them is to enter into a radically different relationship with those aspects of our life from which they spring up. And this ascesis, this aestheticism, this renunciation finds more specific articulation within the concluding section of the essay that begins by reminding us that there are certain facets of our existence which are inexorable. Our finitude will out, if you will. We all suffer to varying degrees, some more than others, but we all suffer. We all encounter disease, impairment, age, and all of us encounter death. And the attempts to simply negate these dimensions of our humanity ultimately constitute a rejection of our humanity, which truth, if I can be so bold as to say that is a truth, which truth is actually essentially admitted by the movement of transhumanism that wishes to go beyond, they would say, though I would say it's actually beneath, they want to go beyond the human and reject these things. But what this does is it actually robs us of our capacity to address them in our fullness. And this is the radical suggestion of Ivan Illich. So we already have had and will have a capacity, both as individuals and as communities, to care for each other in a way that more fully responds to these exigencies than anything that can be derived by a system, whether that is a healthcare system or any other kind of system. In fact, the very notion of a healthcare system is almost inimical to the kind of spontaneous human relationship which would win us real healing. And so it is that then Illich enumerates certain points, and I'm just going to go ahead and read them directly from the essay, to constitute this this declaration, this manifesto of hygienic autonomy properly. And he's putting this in the frame of liberties, personal life liberties, in a sense touching on the tradition of civil liberties. But I don't want to make too much of that, because if we get detained on that point, we're going to miss the spirit of what he is articulating. To wit, and without further ado, let me read this section of the essay. I appeal to the actual experience of people, to the sensibleness of the ordinary person, in direct opposition to professional diagnosis and judgment. I appeal to people's memories in opposition to the illusions of progress. Let us look at the conditions of our households and communities, not at the quality of a healthcare delivery. Health is not a deliverable commodity, and care does not come out of a system. I demand certain liberties for those who would celebrate living rather than preserve life, mere life. I will insert editorially, and these are the liberties which Illich demands. The liberty to declare myself sick. The liberty to refuse any and all medical treatment at any time. The liberty to take any drug or treatment of my own choosing. The liberty to be treated by the person of my choice. That is, by anyone in the community who feels called to the practice of healing, whether the person be an acupuncturist, a homeopathic physician, a neurosurgeon, an astrologer, a witch doctor, or something else. And finally, on the list, and in a sense the most important, the most central, the liberty to die without diagnosis. It's worth repeating. The liberty to die without diagnosis, to refuse to be confined by a label, a stigma, a designation. He goes on to say, and I'll go ahead and finish out the paragraph, I do not believe that countries need a national health policy, something given to their citizens. Rather, the latter, those citizens need the courageous virtue to face certain truths. We will never eliminate pain. We will not cure all disorders, and we will certainly die. Therefore, as sensible creatures, we must face the fact that the pursuit of health may be a sickening disorder. There are no scientific, technological solutions. There is the daily task of accepting the fragility and contingency of the human situation. There are reasonable limits which must be placed on conventional so-called health care. We urgently need to define anew what duties belong to us as person, what pertains to our communities, what we relinquish to the state. Yes, we suffer pain, we become ill, we die, but we also hope, laugh, celebrate. We know the joy of caring for one another. Often we are healed and we recover by many means. We do not have to pursue the path of the flattening out of human experience. I invite all to shift their gaze, their thoughts from worrying about health care to cultivating the art of living. And today, with equal importance to the art of suffering and the art of dying. Which is actually the concluding sentence of the essay. So here we are, we're in the wake of these last 3 disastrous years of an essentially fictitious scourge or pestilence that was deployed in a manner which exemplified all the horrors that Illich had anticipated in this and in other of his works. And all I can say to echo another thinker of import, Georgiana Gambin, is that this is the moment of his legibility. This is the moment to realize that we need to return to actual engagement in concrete life and living, and that means renouncing not only an addiction to a spurious healthcare system or systems, but additionally to stridently resisting a greater dependence and dependency upon cybernetic systems, AI, the digital, all of that. All of that is just going to continue to degrade, to dilute, to diminish the richness of our life and existence. Does that mean that we need to destroy it all? No, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but you have to find a far more disciplined relationship with it than what we have exercised heretofore. So that about rounds it up then for my reflection on this essay. Once again, the risk of being mildly redundant, Brave New Biocracy, Healthcare from Womb to Tomb. I'll put a link to the essay proper in the description. I encourage you to go check it out, or just to check out Ivan Illich in general. We're going to get back to Gunther Anders' book, really more extended essay. We finished the first chapter out. We're going to go back to the second chapter with the next series of live videos, and that's going to be, the essay is The World as Phantom and as Matrix, talking about how broadcast and now digital media transfigures our relationship to the world in a manner which is infantilizing. It induces passivity and undercuts our ability to really live fully in the world. So we're going to return to that essay subsequently. All right, this has been Tom. Thank you guys for listening. I hope this was stimulating and hopefully helpful. All right, have a good night. Catch you later. Bye.